Everybody find it?
Act 4, Scene 2. A public road near Coventry. Enter Falstaff and Bardolph. Bardolph, get thee before to Coventry. Fill me a bottle of sack. Our soldiers shall march through. We'll to Sutton Coalfield tonight.
Will you give me money, Captain?
Lay out, lay out.
This bottle makes an angel.
And if it do, take it for thy labor. And if it make 20, take them all. I'll answer the coinage. Bid my Lieutenant Pito meet me at town's end.
I will, Captain. Farewell.
If I be not ashamed of my soldiers, I am a soused gurnet. I have misused the king's press damnably. I have got in exchange of 150 soldiers 300 and odd pounds. I press me none but good householders, yeomen sons, inquire me out, contracted bachelors, such as had been asked twice on the band, such a commodity of warm slaves as had as leave hear the devil as their drum, such as fear the report of a caliver worse than a struck fowl or hurt wild duck. I pressed me none but such toast and butter, with hearts in their bellies, no bigger than pins' heads, and they have bought out their services. And now my whole charge consists of ancients, corporals, lieutenants, gentlemen of companies, slaves as ragged as Lazarus on the painted cloth where the glutton's dogs licked his sores, and such as indeed were never soldiers, but discarded, unjust serving men, younger sons to younger brothers, revolted captors and ostlers trade fallen, the cankers of a calm world and a long peace, 10 times more dishonorable ragged than an old-faced ancient. And such have I to fill up the rooms of them that have bought out their service, that you would think that I had 150 tattered prodigals lately come from swine keeping, from eating draff and husks. A mad fellow met me on the way and told me I had unloaded all the gibbets and pressed the dead bodies. No eye hath seen such scarecrows. I'll not march through Coventry with them, that's flat. Nay, and the villains march wide betwixt the legs, as if they had gyves on, for indeed I had the most of them out of prison. That there's but a shirt and a half in all my company, and the half shirt is 2 napkins stacked together and thrown over the shoulders like a herald's coat without sleeves. And the shirt, to say the truth, stolen from my host at St. Albans on the red-nosed innkeeper at Daventry. But that's all one. They'll find linen enough on every hedge.
How now, blown Jack? How now, Quilt?
What hell? How now, mad wag? What a devil dost thou in Warwickshire? My good lord of Westmoreland, I cry you mercy. I thought your honour had already been at Shrewsbury.
Faith, Sir John, 'tis more than time that I was there, and you too, but my powers are there already. The king, I can tell you, looks for us, so we must away all night.
Never fear me. I'm as vigilant as a cat to steal cream.
I think to steal cream indeed, for thy theft hath already made thee butter. But tell me, Jack, whose fellows are these that come after?
Mine, Hal, mine.
I did never see such pitiful rascals.
That's good enough to toss. Food for powder, food for powder. They'll fill a pit as well as better. Fishman, mortal men.
Aye, but Sir John, methinks they are exceeding poor and bare, too beggarly.
Faith, for their poverty, I know not where they had that, and for their bareness, I am sure they never learned that of me.
No, I'll be sworn, unless you call 3 fingers on the ribs bare. But, sirrah, make haste. Piercy is already in the field.
What, is the king in camp?
Aye, he is, Sir John. I fear we shall stay too long.
Well, to the latter end of a fray and the beginning of a feast. Fits a dull fighter and a keen guess. Scene 3, the rebel camp near Shrewsbury, enter Hotspur, Worcester, Douglas, and Vernon.
We'll fight with him tonight.
It may not be.
He'll give him then advantage. Not a whit.
Oh, I say you so. Look he not for supply?
Goes
So
away.
we.
He is certain, ours is doubtful.
Good cousin,
Be advised.
be advised.
Is it okay if I take Hotspur?
Oh, you're doing a great job.
Yes,
All right.
I'm Worcester.
Okay. And I'm Vernon, and I guess you're Earl of Douglas, Jim.
Yeah, they'll slim out here in a moment.
Good cousin, be advised, stir not tonight.
Do not, my lord.
You do not counsel well. You speak it out of the fear and the cold heart.
Do me no slander, Douglas. By my life, and I dare well maintain it with my life, if well respected honour bid me on, I hold as little counsel with weak fear as you, my lord, or any Scot that this day lives. Let it be seen tomorrow in the battle which of us fear.
Yea, or tonight.
Content.
Tonight, say I.
Come, it may not be. I wonder much, being men of such great leading as ye are, that ye foresee not what impediments drag back our expedition. Certain horse of my cousin Vernon's are not yet come up. Your Uncle Worcester's horse came but yet today, and now their pride and mettle is asleep, their courage with hard labour tame and dull, that not a horse is half the half of himself.
So are the horses of the enemy, in general, journey baited and brought low, the better part of ours are full of rest.
The number of the king exceedeth ours. For God's sakes, cousin, stay till all come in.
I come with gracious office from the king, if you vouchsafe me hearing and respect.
Welcome, Sir Walter Blunt, and would to God you were of our determination. Some of us love you well, and even though some envy your great deserving a good name because you are not of our quality, but stand against us like an enemy.
And God defend, but still I should stand so long as out of limit and true rule you stand against anointed majesty. But to my charge, the king hath sent to know the nature of your griefs, and whereupon you conjure from the breast of civil peace such bold hostility, teaching his duteous land audacious cruelty. If that the king have any way your good deserts forgot, which he confesseth to be manifold, he bids you name your grief, and with all speed you shall have your desires with interest, and pardon absolute for yourself, and these herein misled by your suggestion.
Oh, the king is kind, and well we know the king knowest at what time to promise, when to pay. My father and my uncle and myself did give him the same royalty he wears, and when he was not 26 strong, sick in the world's regard, wretched and low, a poor unminded outlaw sneaking home, my father gave him welcome to the shore. And when he heard him swear and vow to God, he came but to Duke of Lancaster to sue his livery and beg his peace. With tears of innocency and terms of zeal, my father, in kind heart and pity moved, swore him assistance, and performed it too. Now, when the lords and barons of the realm perceived Northumberland did lean to him, they more or less came in with cap and knee, met him in boroughs, cities, villages, attended him on bridges, stood in lanes, laid gifts before him, proffered him their oaths, gave him their airs as pages followed him, even at the heels in golden multitude. He presently, as greatness knows itself, steps me a little higher than his vow made to my father, whiles his blood was poor upon the naked shore of Ravensfield. And now, forsooth, takes on him to reform some certain edicts and some strait decrees that lie too heavy on the commonwealth, cries out upon abuses, seems to weep over his country's wrong, and by this face, this seeming brow of justice, did he win the hearts of all that he did angle for. Proceeded further, cut me off the heads of all the favorites that the absent king in deputation left behind him here, where he was personal in the Irish war. Then to the point. In short time, after he disposed the king, soon after that, deprived him of his life, and in the neck of that, tasked the whole state to make, though that worse, suffered his kinsman March, who is, if every owner were well placed, linked, indeed, his king, to be engaged in Wales, there, without ransom, to lie forfeited, disgraced me in happy victories, sought to entrap me by intelligence, raided mine uncle from the council board, enraged dismissed my father from the court, broke oath on oath, committed wrong and turn on wrong, and in conclusion drove us to seek out this head of safety, and withal to pry into his title that which we find too indirect for long continuance.
Shall I return this answer to the king?
Not so, Sir Walter. We'll withdraw a while. Go to the king, and let there be in pawn some surety for a safe return again. And in the morning early shall my uncle bring him our purposes, and so farewell.
I would you would accept of grace and love.
And maybe so we shall.
Pray God you do.
And we skip the next scene and go to Act 5. We're in Shrewsbury.
All right. Light at the end of the tunnel. Act 5, Scene 1. King Henry IV's camp near Shrewsbury. Enter King Henry, Prince Henry, Lord John of Lancaster, Earl of Westmoreland, Sir Walter Blunt, and Falstaff.
Oh, how bloodily the sun begins to peer. Above you, busky hills, the day looks pale at his distemperature.
The southern wind doth play the trumpet to his purposes, and by his howl whistling in the leaves foretells a tempest and a blustering day.
Then with the losers let it sympathize, for nothing can seem foul to those that win. How now, my lord of Worcester, 'tis not well that you and I should meet upon such terms as now we meet. You have deceived our trust, to make us doff our easy robes of peace, to crush our old limbs in ungentle steel. This is not well, my lord, this is not well. What say you to it? Will you again unknit this curlish knot of all abhorred war, and move in that obedient orb again, where you did give a fair natural light, and be no more an exhaled meteor, a prodigy of fear, and a portent, a broached mischief to the unborn times?
Hear me, my liege. For mine own part, I could well account to entertain the lag end of my life with quiet hours. For I do protest, I have not sought the day of this death's light.
You have not sought it. How comes it then?
Rebellion lay in his way, and he found it.
Peace, Chewit, peace. It pleased your majesty to turn your looks of favor from myself and all our house, and yet I must remember you, my lord. We were the first and dearest of your friends. For you, my staff of office, did I break in Richard's time, and posted day and night to meet you on the way and kiss your hand. When you were in place and in account, nothing so strong and fortunate as I. It was myself, my brother and his son, that brought you home and boldly did outdare the dangers of the time. You swore to us, and you did swear that oath at Doncaster, that you did nothing purpose against the state, nor claim no further than your new fallen right, the seat of Gaunt, dukedom of Lancaster. To this we swore our aid, but in short pace it rained down fortune showering on your head, and such a flood of greatness fell on you, with our help, and with that absent king, what with the injuries of wanton time, the seeming sufferances that you had borne, and the contrarious winds that held the king so long in his unlucky Irish wars, that all in England did repute him dead. And from this swarm of fair advantages, you took occasion to be quickly wooed, to gripe the general sway into your hand. Forget your oath to us at Doncaster. Being fed by us, you used us so as the ungentle hull, the cuckoo's bird, useth the sparrow did oppress our nest, grew by our feeding to so great a bulk that even our love durst not come near your sight, for fear of swallowing. But with nimble wing we were enforced, for safety's sake, to fly out of sight and raise this present head, where we stand opposed by such means as yourself have forged against yourself by unkind usage, dangerous continence, and violation of all faith and troth sworn to us in your younger enterprise.
These things indeed you have articulate, proclaimed at market crosses, read in churches, to face the garment of rebellion with some fine color that may please the eye, of fickle changeling and poor discontents, which gape and rub the elbow at the news of hurly-burly innovation. And never yet did insurrection want such watercolors to paint his cause, nor moody beggars starving for a time of pell-mell havoc and confusion.
In both your armies there is many a soul shall pay full dearly for this encounter, if once they join in trial. Tell your nephew, the Prince of Wales, doth join with all the world in praise of Henry Percy. By my hopes this present enterprise set off his head. I do not think a braver gentleman, more active valiant, and more valiant young, more daring or more bold, is now alive to grace this latter age with noble deeds. For my part, I may speak it to my shame, I have truant been to chivalry, and so I hear he doth account me too. Yet this, before my father's majesty, I am content that he shall take the odds of his great name and estimation, and will, to save the blood on either side, try fortune with him in a single fight.
And, Prince of Wales, so dare we venture thee, albeit consideration infinite, to make against it. No, good Worcester, no, we love our people well, even those we love that are misled upon your cousin's part. And will they take the offer of our grace, both he and they, and you and every man shall be my friend again, and I'll be his. So tell your cousin, and bring me word what he will do. But if he will not yield, rebuke and dread correction wait on us, and they shall do their office. So be gone. We will not be troubled with reply. We offer fair. Take it advisedly.
It will not be accepted on my life. The Douglas and the Hotspur both together are confident against the world in arms.
Hence, therefore, every leader to his charge, for on their answer will we set on them, and God befriend us, as our cause is just.
Hal, if thou see me down in the battle and bestride me, so 'tis a point of friendship.
Nothing but a colossus can do that, friendship. Say thy prayers, and Farewell.
I would to a bedtime, Hal. All's well.
Why, thou owest God a death.
He's not due yet. I would be loath to pay him before his day. What need I be so forward with him that calls not on me? Well, 'tis no matter. Honor pricks me on. Yea, but how if honor prick me off when I come on? How then? Can honor set to a leg? No. Or an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? No. Honor hath no skill in surgery, then? No. What is honor? A word. What is in that word honor? What is that honor? Air. A trim reckoning. Who hath it? He that died a Wednesday. Doth he feel it? No. Doth he hear it? No. 'Tis insensible then. Yea, to the dead. But will it not live with the living? No. Why? The detraction will not suffer it. Therefore I'll none of it. Honor is a mere scutcheon, and so ends my catechism. Scene 2, the rebel camp. Enter Worcester and Vernon.
Oh no, my nephew must not know. Sir Richard, the liberal and kind offered to the king.
To a best he did.
Then are we all undone. It is not possible, it cannot be. The king should keep his word in loving us. He will suspect us still and find a time to punish this offense in other faults. Suspicion all our lives shall be struck full of eyes, for treason is but trusted like the fox, who, never so tame, so cherished and locked up, will have a wild trick of his ancestors. Look how we can, or sad or merrily, interpretation will misquote our looks, and we shall feed like oxen at the stall. The better cherished still, the nearer death. My nephew's trespass will be well forgot. It has the excuse of youth and the heat of blood, and an adopted name of privilege, a hair-brained Hotspur, governed by a spleen. All his offensive live upon my head, and on his father's, as we did train him on, and his corruption being ta'en from us, we, as the spring of all, shall pay for all. Therefore, good cousin, let not Harry know, in any case, the offer of the king.
Deliver what you will, I'll say 'tis so. Here comes your cousin.
My uncle has returned. Deliver up my lord of Westmoreland. Uncle, what news?
The king will bid you battle presently.
Defy him by the Lord of Westmoreland.
O Douglas, go you and tell him so.
Marry and shall, and very willingly.
There is no seeming mercy in the king.
Did you beg any? God forbid.
I told him greatly of our grievances, of his oath-breaking, which he mended thus, by now forswearing that he is forsworn. He calls us rebels, traitors, and will scourge with haughty arms this hateful name in us.
Arms, for we have thrown a brave defiance in King Henry's teeth, and Westmoreland that shall be engaged, and did best, but cannot choose, but bring him swiftly on.
The Prince of Wales stepped forth before the king, and nephew challenged you to single fight.
Oh, would the quarrel lay upon our heads, and that no man might draw a short breath today, but I and Henry Monmouth? Tell me, how showed his tasking? Seemed it in contempt?
No, by my soul, I never in my life did hear a challenge urged more modestly, unless a brother should dare to gentle exercise and proof of arms. He gave you all the duties of a man, trimmed up your praises with a princely tongue, spoke to your deservings like a chronicle, making you ever better than his praise by still dispraising praise valued in you, and which became him like a prince indeed, he made a blushing chittle of himself, and chid his truant youth with such a grace, as if he mastered there a double spirit of teaching and of learning instantly. There did he pause, but he let me tell the world, if he outlive the envy of this day, England did never owe so sweet a hope, so much misconstrued in his wantonness.
Cousin, I think thou art enamored of his follies. Never did I hear of any prince so wild and libertine. But be he as he will, yet once ere night I will embrace him with a soldier's arm, that he shall shrink under my courtesy. Arm with speed, and fellows, soldiers, friends, better consider what you have to do, than I, that have not well the gift of tongue, can lift your blood up with persuasion.
My lord, here are letters for you.
I cannot read them now. Oh, gentlemen, the time of life is short. To spend that shortness basely were too long. In life did ride upon a dial's point, still ending at the arrival of an hour. And if we live to tread on kings. If die, brave deaths when princes die with us. Now, for our consciences, the arms are fair, when the intent of bearing them is just.
My lord, prepare. The king is coming on apace.
I thank him that he cuts me from my tale, for I profess not talking, only this, that each man do his best, and here draw I a sword, whose temper I intend to stain with the best blood that I can meet withal, in the adventure of this perilous day. Now, Esperance, Percy, and set on, sound all the lofty instruments of war, and by that music let us all embrace, for heaven to earth, some of us shall never a second time do such a courtesy.
We skip the next scene, go to scene 4.
4, 2, 4.
Drums in the battle. Brum, brum, bum, brum, bum.
Oh,
Enter King Henry.
I pray thee, Harry, withdraw thyself, thou bleedest too much. Lord John of Lancaster, go you with him.
Not I, my lord, unless I did bleed too.
I beseech your majesty, make up, lest your retirement do amaze your friends.
I will do so. My lord of Westmoreland, lead him to his tent.
Come, my lord, I will lead you to your tent.
Lead me, my lord? I do not need your help, and God forbid a shallow scratch should drive the Prince of Wales from such a field as this, where stained nobility lies trodden on, and rebels' arms triumph in massacres.
we breathe too long. Come, cousin Westmoreland, our duty this way flies. For God's sake, come.
By God, thou hast deceived me, Lancaster. I did not think thee lord of such a spirit. Before, I loved thee as a brother, John, but now I do respect thee as my soul.
I saw him hold Lord Percy at the point with lustier maintenance than I did look for of such an ungrown warrior.
Oh, this boy lends mettle to us all.
Another king, they grow like Hydra's heads. I am the Douglas, fatal to all those that wear those colours on them. What art thou that counterfeitest the person of a king?
The king himself, who, Douglas, grieves at heart so many of his shadows thou hast met, not the very king. I have 2 boys. Seek Percy and thyself about the field. But seeing thou fallest on me so luckily, I will assail thee. So defend thyself.
I fear thou art another counterfeit, and yet in faith thou bearest thee like a king. But mine I am sure thou art, where thou be, and thus I win thee. Swing, swing.
Hold up thy head, vile Scot, or thou art like never to hold it up again. The spirits of valiant Shirley Stratford Blunt are in my arms. It is the Prince of Wales that threatens thee, who never promises, but he means to pay. Cheerly, my lord, how fares your grace? Sir Nicholas Gossey hath for succor sent, and so hath Clifton, all to Clifton straight.
Stay and breathe a while. Thou hast redeemed thy lost opinion, and showed thou makest some tender of my life in this fair rescue thou hast brought to me.
Oh God, they did me too much injury, that ever said I hearkened for your death. If it were so, I might have let alone the insulting hand of Douglas over you, which would have been so as speedy in your end as all the poisonous potions in the world, and saved the treacherous labor of your son.
Make up to Clinton, I'll to Sir Nicholas Gossey. If I mistake not, thou art Henry Monmouth.
Thou speakest as if I would deny my name.
My name is Harry Percy.
Why, then I see a very valiant rebel of the name. I am the Prince of Wales, and I think not, Percy, to share with me in glory any more. Two stars keep not their motion in one sphere, nor can one England brook a double reign of Harry Percy and the Prince of Wales.
Nor shall it, Harry. The hour is come to end the one of us, and would to God the name and arms were now as great as mine.
I'll make it greater ere I part from thee, and all the budding honors on thy crest I'll crop to make a garland for my head.
I can no longer brook thy vanities.
Well said, Hal. To it, Hal. Nay, you shall find no boys' play here, I can tell you.
Thou hast robbed me of my youth. I better brook the loss of brittle life than those proud titles thou hast won of me. They wound my thoughts worse than sword my flesh. But thoughts, the slave of life, and life's time's fool, and time that takes survey of all the world must have a stop. Oh, I could prophesy, but that the earthly and cold hand of death lies on my tongue. No, Percy, thou art dust and food for
worms, brave Percy. Fare thee well, great heart. Ill-weaven ambition, how much art thou shrunk. When this body did contain a spirit, a kingdom for it was too small a bound. But now to paces of the vilest earth is room enough. This earth that bears thee dead bears not alive so stout a gentleman. If thou wert sensible of courtesy, I should not make so dear a show of zeal, but let my favors hide thy mangled face, and even in thy behalf I thank myself for doing these fair rites of tenderness. Adieu, and take thy praise with thee to heaven, thy ignominy sleep with thee in the grave, but not remembered in thy epitaph. What? Old acquaintance, could not all this flesh keep in a little life? Poor Jack, farewell. I could have better spared a better man. Oh, I should have a heavy miss of thee. If I were much in love with vanity, death hath not struck so fat a deer today, though many dearer in this bloody fray. Embowelled I will see thee by and by, till then in blood by noble Percy lie.
Embowelled? If thou embowel me today, I'll give you leave to powder me and eat me too tomorrow. Blood, 'twas time to counterfeit, or that hot termagant Scot had paid me Scot and lot too. Counterfeit! I lie, I'm no counterfeit. To die is to be a counterfeit, but he the counterfeit of a man who hath not the life of a man, but to counterfeit dying. But a man thereby liveth. It is no counterfeit, but the true and perfect image of life indeed. The better part of valor is discretion, in the which better part I have saved my life. Zounds, I am afraid of this gunpowder. Percy, though he be dead now, how if he should counterfeit too and rise? By my faith, I'm afraid he would prove the better counterfeit. Therefore I'll make him sure. Yea, and I'll swear I killed him. Oh, I may not he rise as well as I. Nothing confutes me but eyes, and nobody sees me. Therefore, with a new wound in your thigh, come you along with me.
Come, brother John, full bravely hast thou fleshed thy maiden sword.
But soft, whom have we here? Did you not tell me that man was dead?
I did. I saw him dead, breathless and bleeding on the ground. Art thou alive? Or is this fantasy that plays upon our eyesight? I prithee speak. We are not trust our eyes without our ears. Thou art not what thou seemest.
No, that's certain. I am not a double man, but if I be not Jack Falstaff, then I am a Jack. There is Percy. If your father will do me any honor, so. If not, let him kill the next Percy himself. I look to be either Earl or Duke, I can assure you.
Why, Percy, I killed myself. I saw thee dead.
Didst thou, Lord, how this world is given to lying. I grant you I was down and out of breath, and so was he. But we rose both at an instant and fought a long hour by Shrewsbury clock, if I may be believed. So, if not, let them that should reward valor bear the sin upon their own head. I'll take it upon my death. I gave him this wound in the thigh. If the man were alive and would deny it, don't. I would make him eat a piece of my thorn.
This is the strangest tale that I ever heard.
This is the strangest fellow, brother John. Come, bring your luggage nobly on your back. For my part, if I lie, may do thee grace. I'll gild it with the happiest terms I have. The trumpet sounds retreat. The day is ours. Come, brother, let us to the highest of the field to see what friends are living who are dead.
I'll follow, as they say, for reward. He that rewards me, God reward him. If I do grow great, I'll grow less. For I'll purge and leave sack, and live cleanly as a nobleman should do. Scene 5, are we skipping scene 5? No? Scene 5, another part of the field. Trumpet sounds, enter King Henry IV, Prince Henry, Lord and Lord Cameron, Earl of Westmoreland, with Worcester and Vernon prisoners.
Thus ever did rebellion find rebuke, ill-spirited Worcester. Did not we send grace, pardon, and terms of love to all of you? And wouldst thou turn our offers contrary, misuse the tenor of thy kinsman trust? 3 knights upon our party slain today, a noble earl and many a creature else had been alive this hour. If, like a Christian, thou hadst truly borne betwixt our armors true intelligence.
What I have done my safety urged me to, and I embrace this fortune patiently, since not to be avoided it falls on me.
Beowulf, to the death, and Vernon too, others offenders we will pause upon. How goes the field?
The noble Scot, Lord Douglas, when he saw the fortune of the day, quite turned from him. The noble Percy, slain, and all his men upon the foot of fear, fled with the rest. And falling from a hill, he was so bruised that the pursuers took him. At my tent the Douglas is, and I beseech your grace, I may dispose of him.
With all my heart.
Then, brother of John of Lancaster, to you this honorable bounty shall belong. Go to the Douglas and deliver him up to his pleasure, ransomless and free. His valor shown upon our crests today hath taught us how to cherish such high deeds even in the bosom of our adversaries.
I thank your grace of this high courtesy, which I shall give immediately.
Then this remains, that we divide our power. You, son John, and my cousin Westmoreland, toward York, shall bend you with your dearest speed to meet Northumberland and the prelate Scroop, who, as we hear, are busily in arms. Myself and you, son Harry, will toward Wales to fight with Glendower and the Earl of March. Rebellion in this land shall lose its sway, meeting the check of such another day. And since this business so fair is done, let us not leave till all our own be won.
Based on a true story, Mr. Shakespeare made Hotspur a lot younger. He was supposed to be the same age as the king, but it was the king that killed Hotspur and not Prince Harry. As it should be, huh?
I'm all confused now.
Yeah.
Who killed him? The king killed Hotspur.
Yeah, because they were of the same age.
Oh.
So why did Shakespeare make him kill the king, and then
Hotspur, I think, was meant to be the same age as the prince, just because it made much more dramatic sense. I mean, to have an old man.
The duels, right?
Yeah, it's an amazing story, twisted as only Shakespeare could.
So did the actual prince acquit himself well in the battle, or was he like too young? Or
I think he was probably like Prince John. I think the two princes followed the king, and that's it, you know. But Mr. Falstaff was invention by Shakespeare as well. So it really made the whole history series come alive, as we'll see in the next two shows, plus Merry Wives of Windsor. Queen Elizabeth asked to see Sir John in love, so she got Merry Wives of Windsor. And we'll do that in July.
Based on...
Are there people that refuse to do this play because of all the fat shaming?
All the facts change? Not that I know of.
Not fat shaming. Fat shaming.
Oh,
yeah,
fat shaming.
They're taking notes. They're taking notes, man. They're going to use that stuff.
This is the first show that I did with the Hawaii Shakespeare Festival, and it was directed by R. Kevin Doyle, and he really researched a lot of that and told us this during rehearsals. But no, I don't think that there was anything else. There's little Lonnie. She's back.
Yeah, I was kind of cleaning up while I was listening.
Okay.
I didn't have any lines towards the end.
Yeah.
I looked ahead and I'm like, whoa. But
You
anyway.
battle, you're cleaning your room.
Yeah.
You didn't want to kill Hotspur, huh? All right, 2 weeks from now, hopefully, knock on wood, we will go July 12th for part 2. And Richard Eyre, who directed the version of The Hollow Crown, has spoken when he did direct this when he was about age 20. He thought that Hal was the star of the show because he himself, the director, was young. But later in 2012, when he made the film, he discovered that Falstaff and the king were really the ones to follow. And it shows that when you age with Shakespeare's words coming around and when you're directing it, you have that same attitude as to your own age. And he made a wonderful discovery. And Tom Hiddleston played Prince Hal. And then later he becomes Henry V. So look out.